There's got to be something on the other side.
And I don't know
mutants.
what that extra thing is over me, because it's like I thought heightening was getting the mutants involved.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for the Fantastic Four of the mutants, so I don't know what other heightening we've been asking for a very long time. Cough, cough, Blade.
I feel like the move is to focus on the school. The way Universal focused on Hogwarts.
And you make money off that.
You make money off of that. Like, if it's a cool looking, like, X mansion that has, like, the student floor, but then has the X floor that you can explore, and there's a ride connected to that. 100%. You get on the X jet and you take off from the hangar. I think there could be another Civil War type of event that incorporates the X-Men in the story.
Are we gonna be alive when they start remaking these movies?
No.
We will be dead, right? We'll be dead.
We'll be long gone. But I'm talking about at that point when all of our consciousness has been plugged into the AI neural nets.
Hell yeah.
What movies will my AI recreated brain want to consume?
I'm gonna be a chef.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. Kevin Feige has a 10-year plan for Marvel Studios. Will people still care about Marvel movies 10 years from now? I can't see any future beyond Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars, and I guess a Mutant Saga. But does that mean the Mutant Saga is going to be an 8-year saga? What comes after X-Men in the MCU? Let's look ahead 10 years into the future.
10 years into the future, but right now on the sneak peek with me, Jessica Clemons, and Erik Voss.
Hi, everybody.
Yes.
Hi, Jess.
Hi.
Good to be back with you this week. Hey, it's warmer in LA, so that means shorts weather.
It's not that warm.
Easy.
Oh, are you peeing on your knees now?
No, you misinterpreted. That's not what we do.
I know what you guys do.
Watch.
And I think about this every day now.
I'm sorry that that's now in your head, but go watch last week if you don't know what we're talking about, or don't. So it's been a crazy week for Marvel. Thunderbolts has been a very interesting success story with the way they're marketing this movie, even after the release, of revealing right away that asterisk means New Avengers. It really seems like there's like a sense of focus and a sense of purpose and confidence in what Marvel Studios is doing. It's bold. I don't know if it will work, but it is bold. And it's kind of coming out at the same time as a lot of people have their eyes on Marvel Studios. We know Doomsday is coming next year. Fantastic Four First Steps is coming. And there was even some reporting from Deadline this week that the Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier is gonna maybe direct the X-Men movie for the MCU that currently has a draft of a script. So they're moving fast. But there was this article from the Wall Street Journal that went into kind of what this low point at Marvel Studios has been, and they talked about how Kevin Feige was just really spread thin when they were trying to produce a lot of different Disney Plus shows that reportedly staffers had to chase him down the hall to get feedback. Maybe the guy just walks fast. I don't know. But now they're saying, the article ends with him saying he has a 10-year plan for the characters, and I feel like now's a good time for us to just try to look ahead to what the next 10 years of Marvel could be. We're in 2025 now, so where do we think Marvel will be in 2035?
Yeah, we'll know that one part is the Mutant Saga, but they don't stay in these sagas for 10 years, or these phases in 10 years, so it's definitely going to have to be two things are going to happen that are going to shift. We're going from the multiverse into not the multiverse, into mutants, and then there's going to be an additional thing that's just as big.
There's got to be something on the other side.
And I don't
of
know what that extra thing is over me, because it's I thought heightening was getting the mutants involved.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for the Fantastic Four of the mutants, so I don't know what other heightening we've been asking for a very long time. Cough, cough, Blade.
Right.
Other than Blade.
Maybe we start with Blade.
Honestly, I wish we would. It's
not too late to get Blade out in the next couple years. Let's look at the release slate as we know it. So we got Fantastic Four First Steps coming July 25th, 2025, and less than 3 months away. We have Avengers Doomsday coming May 1st, 2026, but there is an opening on February 13th, 2026 that just, Marvel kind of locked down Valentine's Day weekend of 2026 before Doomsday. And is it too late for a movie to fill that slot?
No, we talked about this actually. We did a sneak peek that was what could be the next releases for these dates. And I think we said that could be the Blade date.
Yeah. It's just we would have to start shooting. 2 months ago to fit that in.
It's not Blade anymore, but I wish it was. I wish it was.
It's too late. You can't turn around a movie within a year. So I think they're going to let that pitch go by the plate. But after Doomsday in May 2026, on July 31st, 2026, we'll have Spider-Man Brand New Day. And then in November 2026, we have an opening. And I think when we talked about Blade maybe coming out in February 2026, we said November 2026 would be a good place for Doctor Strange time runs out and having a good Doctor Strange story between Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Yeah.
I think it's not too late for that, but now it's kind of feeling like if Blade is going to come out before Secret Wars, it's going to be in that November slot.
Yeah, now they're going to push it to there. And also from that, like, was it Bob Iger that said in the interview recently or someone that was just mentioning, we kind of grazed and talked about it a little bit, but like they're slowing it down.
Yeah.
So it's like there might be a month where nothing comes out. And I could see that February slot now just being nothing. February is also like such a weird time for a movie. I think we got Brave New World in February, but it's also like, it's like right after January. Here's the first winter movie. And I'm like, ooh. Give us until spring. I'm like, just wait until spring. We'll be fine.
I kind of like having that mid-February movie because everything else around that time feels a little like it's award season, you know? So you have to go see whatever the conclave is. And I love all of those movies, but I like to have one good kind of just like popcorn flick.
Yeah, that's
like I'm trying to think, like Deadpool. The first Deadpool came out in February, and I really loved that in 2016. But I hear what you're saying. Secret Wars is coming out in May 7th, 2027, and we'll see. Maybe at Comic-Con this summer, they could say that's a 2-part movie, although the Russo brothers have been pretty consistent in saying it's going to be 1 3-hour movie. Okay. So that's going to be like their second end game. Beyond that, we don't know. Maybe a late 2027, but I think it sounds like they're not going to release more than 2 films per year.
Which will stretch a lot. Which will stretch the 10 years, for sure.
Yeah.
2 movies a year for 10 years is very doable for Marvel. This is excluding like special presentations?
Just movies, just theatrical release movies.
Theatrical release,
We're not talking so much about TV, but yeah, it sounds like they're only going to be doing... TV is even more unclear because it sounds like they're going to be doing 2 live-action TV series a year, and I don't know if that includes second and third seasons of things like Daredevil Born Again, and if they do like another season of Agatha or something like that.
Well, and I don't know because it's probably never going to happen again, but I was like, they did still do a small little theater release for Werewolf by Night. So that's why I'm like, are they going to try doing like little award kind of movies for that? Like, I don't know.
I think they will. I think we'll see some examples of them releasing like the first 2 episodes of something viewable in theaters.
Yeah,
you know?
And if it's cinematic enough, they will try to get that award. Whatever
they should.
Award it is.
I mean, that's such a fun thing to do.
It's easy, and it was so much fun to see that in the theater.
Things that we know are in the mix, right? So Blade, somewhere still in the mix. Black Panther 3 is happening. Ryan Coogler is coming back for that. Denzel Washington's involved. Shang-Chi 2 is somewhere still in the mix. Like when Destin Daniel Cretton was moved off of Avengers 5 to Brand New Day, Shang-Chi 2 was still in the reporting there. This X-Men movie that they have a script for and that Jake Schreier may be directing. There's a Scarlett Johansson produced film that I haven't heard any updates on. And then recently, Ryan Reynolds confirmed he is writing another follow-up to Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay. So we're having another one of those. And that will be somewhere in these next few years.
Are they talking about doing another Thor movie?
Yeah, Thor 5, I think, was rumored this week as well.
And they said it wouldn't be not Taika. Yeah, it's not Taika. No Taika.
I think that was just rumored, but yeah, it feels like Taika might be moving on from this franchise.
I think there was an article, I didn't get too into it because I was like, it shocked me by their thumbnail. But Coleman Domingo is talking to Marvel. They don't know what he's doing. He doesn't even know what he's doing.
Let him do whatever he wants.
That's basically, he said when they did the interview, he basically said, what do you want from me? Like, what are you trying to get me to do? And there's rumors, high rumors. I don't think he's going to replace Kang. I don't think they're going to do Kang again. I think they're just not going to do Kang. But also me and Brandon talked about it briefly, that Marvel can get these big stars to play villains because they die. And they're like, we don't need you to come back 5 years from now. Gore the God Butcher. And so that's why I'm like, he's probably gonna play a villain that can only be here for like 1 or 2 movies tops. He's busy. He's a busy man.
You know what I think is a sign of health for the studio? This is gonna sound mean, but when they announced Giancarlo Esposito for Captain America: Brave New World, I was like, okay, cool, I like him, but he's also in everything. He is in everything. He's in Star Wars. He's in The Boys, and it kind of feels like, Marvel, you can like put him in a different role other than a villain. Like,
but he can't stay.
Let him do something. Yeah, because he's such like
he has to go to the boys immediately.
Yeah. So when he was just Sidewinder and Brave New World, I was like, that's a sign of health. They're not letting him play like the Magneto or the Doctor Doom or any of the major marquee villains. And I think it's a sign. It's a good sign for Marvel Studios that they're not falling into that same trap.
But I'm scared they'll get like an Ego. And I'm like, oh, so they're gonna say it's Ego, and then they die at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I do think you're going your direction where they're gonna have, but also not to be this person. Let Coleman Domingo play that role.
No.
Coleman Domingo's a god.
Yeah, I think Coleman Domingo is a great option of someone to consider as a villain in the Mutant Saga.
Oh my God, please.
He could play a Gyrick. He could play
a
Senator Kelly.
He could made him Sinister.
He could be Sinister, Onslaught. There's like a lot of different options. There could be a Stryker, Colonel Stryker was just an X2. He was like a Reverend Stryker in the comics. He could be a Reverend Stryker.
That would be
There's
fun.
a lot of different interesting roles that he can make his own. Because here's the lesson Marvel needs to apply in the Mutant Saga. And I assume they feel this way. I hope they do. We need villains who we can live with for multiple years, multiple titles, not villains who die. The villains need to be as recurring as the heroes are.
I really hope. So
we need a Magneto who we live with in a lot of titles.
I really hope they recognize that, because I think there is a balance to get someone that's great in Hollywood like Coleman Domingo, and they do stay. They do stay for a little bit. I think that it's there. You just gotta. I don't know, find people that are less taken. Coleman Domingo is very taken. He's very hot right now. But he is also still in the Spider-Man animated series, and he's coming back for that. So I'm like, but that's easier. That's you coming into a booth and recording your lines very quickly and then leaving immediately.
Yeah, it's kind of like Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop in the live-action MCU whilst continuing to voice Spider-Gwen in the Across the Spider-Verse.
And it's also like they kind of got her at a good time. Yeah. They got Kate Bishop. They got Haley Steinfeld for Kate Bishop at a good time. Now she's like, after Sinners, I think she's going to get a bunch of other roles she wants to direct. I'm like, great time getting her. But also, sorry to sidetrack, because Coleman Domingo is probably not going to be in any of these ones.
So if we look at like the next 10 years, like part of Feige's 10-year plan, it kind of feels like finishing out the multiverse saga with a big bang, making sure that Avengers Secret Wars is like an event that people show up for the way they did for Endgame. I don't know if like he needs a Thor 5 to make that work. I do feel like you need a Doctor Strange 3 to make that work. Yes. So saying yes to this, making a Blade movie happen, and then starting the Mutant Saga off right. Though in my head, what I think they're going to do to introduce us to the Mutant Saga is use Secret Wars to do it.
Yeah, 100.
And then have one of the sections of Battle World be Genosha or Krakoa. Yeah. And then once Franklin Richards restores the balance and builds the new Marvel world out of Battle World, like part of the Marvel world now has a Krakoa or a Genosha in it, and now has mutants in it, and they're all new actors. Yeah. So the OG actors who we see coming back from the Fox era, who show up in Doomsday, maybe some of them show up in Secret Wars too. This will be the last we see of them, and then we'll have all new actors in like a mutant film, an X-Men film on the other side of Secret Wars. And we can talk about who should play who. I feel like that's going to be a conversation we have forever, but I'm just thinking broadly, like, how do you do a mutant saga in the MCU so that it doesn't feel like either of the Fox eras, and feels fresh and true to Marvel Studios brand?
That's the only part that I'm kind of scared about, because that's what they ended up just reconstructing from what Daredevil Born Again was. Because I'm like, I don't need to see the other Fox universe, but I would love to see the MCU's version of the school. Yeah. And I want to see the kids there. And I do want to see like what they're doing in New York upstate Manhattan? Where are they?
Westchester County.
Westchester County.
It is upstate, or it's upstate from Manhattan.
Okay, thank you. And I don't know New York location. I'm not a New Yorker, but but this is also personal. I'm also a bad person when it comes to Star Wars. I'm like, I don't mind going back to Tatooine.
Give me more of that.
Yeah, give me some more of that. Dig in there. You'll find another saber. But I'm like, I do want to see that, but I don't need to get into it just as much as we did in the Fox franchise. And I think they can still do it without even making it look like the Fox franchise one. So we can get it. And if there's only 2 movies a year, that could easily be the 10 years of like one movie is always an X-Men kind of movie and the other movie is something else.
Yeah. I do think they'll have like a mutant movie and then something else of some other recurring character. This is where you get your Doctor Strange 4 in there. It's where you get your other Deadpool movie in the mix. I really do think 2035 could be like what they consider to be the climax of the Mutant Saga.
Yeah.
And we'll still have mutants in the MCU on the other side of that, but they just won't be as much of a focus and will be part of the mix with
100.
But I guess the Fantastic Four are going to be part of that mix as well. He has to imagine we'll see like another Fantastic Four movie.
100%. And I think that's like those bridgings are also going to involve just like what we're going to get. I don't know about Tom Holland, how long he's going to stay. 10 years he's still young in 10 years.
I kind of feel like Kevin Feige's 10-year plan does not include
Spider-Man
because that's a side deal that he has to like
that is true.
Hope Sony shows up to the table.
That is true. You're 100% right on that. Because I was like, I think that would be the good bridging is throwing Spider-Man in that mix.
Unless his plan is making so much money that like Disney can afford to buy Sony. Buy Spider-Man back from Sony. Ooh. I don't think that will ever happen. Ooh. I think Sony will always make their own money from the Spider-Man franchise through gaming in ways that like Marvel can never really capitalize from their characters because they don't own consoles the way Sony does.
Yeah, respectfully, Sony needs Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Sony's like, nah, I'm not letting go of this. Yeah. Why would I?
They don't need to. They make so much money and they will always make money from it.
But that makes sense for the 10-year plan that if we're doing like a mutant stuff, we're just now going, I don't think they're trying to involve too much of the comics. They're still trying to always make original storylines for everyone to understand, but they're going to go, if they do take from the comics, they're just going to go arch towards the mutant versions of the comics and go away from what the Avengers were. Oh, which is going to be kind of sad. That's going to be kind of sad to be like, yeah, we're not going to see any more of the Avengers. We're going closer to what the mutants had to deal with in the comics or in the animated series.
Can we live in the Mutant Saga for a little bit and just kind of talk about like what Kevin Feige has in mind for it and like in terms of villains, in terms of storylines. You know, there's been a lot of talk that Mr. Sinister was always what, Simon Kinberg wanted to do back when it was at Fox. We haven't really seen Mr. Sinister on screen. We saw him in X-Men 97, and he was kind of like goofballed by the end of that season. And it was more, OZT and Bastion were the villains, and then they set up Apocalypse at the end of it. So it seems like season 2 might be going into some Age of Apocalypse stuff. We got Apocalypse played by Oscar Isaac in the 2016 movie. But the thing about Apocalypse is it's kind of like a time travel story a little bit because he's someone who is like going through time and adjusting things, and he's like a time lord in a way. To make it Mr. Sinister the villain, it's kind of a genetic story. He's someone who likes to experiment and trap people in his weird castle and make offspring from them. So that's kind of like a Madeline Pryor story. My pitch has been lean into the earlier two installments of the X-Men movies and making them kind of like a political story. I love X-Men that embraces politics, that embraces the Gyrick, the Senator Kelly, the Strikers of the world. I am fascinated by that side of it. And then it's just like the U.S. government versus X-Men. That's how you get Sentinels in there. I like that version of an X-Men. And I feel like you could tell 7 years of great X-Men stories of just different people getting control of government powers. But do we think that Marvel Studios is the right franchise to tell that story? Are there other villains arcs that they should explore?
I think Marvel can do it. I think it really depends on who's writing it. And what story and that's the part that Bob Iger was like, people need to stop bringing a message through the stories. We just need to have writers write the movie. And I'm like, well, someone that actually, like, we know what it's based off of. And I think if those people that are afflicted can help write that story, they can build the political world for that story and what it looks like. And that's where the grounding comes from. And I think that story can happen. It's just if Marvel hires that writer to do it. Yeah. Which they can do. They can do. I'm not saying hire Ryan Coogler. I'm just saying they have hired Ryan Coogler. So they can do it. Yeah. It just depends. And that's the only part I'm nervous about. Even like taking a villain that's not going to be here for a long time. I'm like, I don't know if they're going to do these things. Yeah.
I think like those are movies people will watch. Stories about like battles over schools and curriculum and education. Like those are pressing issues. And I think people will very much appreciate seeing movies like that. It'll make these movies like kind of at the center of the public consciousness in ways that they haven't been when they get too cosmic or too sci-fi or too fantasy. So, but I don't know if like Bob Iger wants that. I think Kevin Feige might want that, but I think Bob Iger would want things that just like unite everyone in some kind of escapist fantasy.
Well, and the thing is, I don't and you can write that. It's more so like in the Bob Iger mind, in the big Disney picture mind, right? What's going into the parks? What can they make the money off of, right?
Yeah, it's all about
and that's
the
what
parks.
I'm kind of thinking, and that's I'm trying to figure out what that story is based off of, like, what can get them more money. Is it just bringing in every mutant you can find just to, like, have a cameo, or not cameo, but to have, like, their own storyline? That way you can put Kitty Pryde in, you can put Kitty Pryde in Avengers Campus. Avengers Campus in LA is also expanding right now. They're getting 2 more rides or something between that and Cars Land.
Yeah.
So it's like they're planning for more people to come in here. They want more people to come to Avengers Campus other than for the one Spider-Man ride.
I feel like the move is to focus on the school. The way Universal focused on Hogwarts.
And you make money off that.
You make money off of that. Like, if it's a cool looking, like, X mansion that has, like, the student floor, but then has the X floor that you can explore, and there's a ride connected to that. 100%. You get on the X jet and you take off from the hangar. Like, it's all set up to do it that way. But then you get into, well, what stories do you tell there? Is it just Gen V at that point?
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's the thing. Young adult fiction sells.
Yeah.
Young adult fiction sells. And it sells for both demographics. Like, there's older people that love young adult fiction stories. There's young people that love young adult fiction stories. So it does kind of become a Gen V, a much more PG Gen V, mind you. But I think that's still what we loved. Because we were like, oh, let's see Rogue with this person. Let's see Iceman with this person. Like, it was more, and this is maybe me being like a simp. I'm like, I love the love stories. So I'm like, yeah, I want to see how these kids are reacting, who's their teachers and who are their mentors.
Yeah.
And again, making those outfits will sell. People are gonna cosplay. People are gonna buy that at Avengers Campus. If they focus on the school, they got money. They got money. And we haven't, personally, I'm like, I would love to see more of the school.
Like, imagine instead of Avengers Campus, you go to the Westchester Campus, the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters.
Baby.
Like, that would be really fun to visit. Like, Hogwarts is fun to walk through at Universal. You got to have, like, an X mansion to walk through. I feel like that's the way to go. Now I'm just thinking, like, what stories do we tell? You could do, like, government crackdowns, because, like, the Stryker attack on the X mansion that was at the first act of X2 was one of the cooler sequences. Super fun there. You could have villains like Sinister who are getting part of that. You could have villains
Sinister's
like,
just stealing kids from the school.
That'd
be crazy.
Or he's weirdly trying to ship them in his lab, like young Scott Summers. Don't you want to date Madeline? I know what your offspring
I don't want
will
it
look
anymore.
like.
I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, I know. I guess the question also we have to address is, like, who is the focal character to bring us into the MCU Mutant Saga? Like, we had Rogue was kind of the focal character on the X-Men animated series is Jubilee. On X-Men 97, it was kind of Roberta DaCosta at first.
I think you could make it Kitty.
Kitty Pryde is great.
I think you could make it Kitty. And
I'm pulling for Bobby Drake.
Everyone likes Bobby Drake.
I want to see Iceman because, like,
he had a great story.
He has a great story. I don't want someone who, like, you could do Billy Maximoff, people who are already in the MCU and young. We know Kamala Khan is a mutant. I feel like they're all going to be part of this mix, but I think got to introduce a new character, and so that, like, it's not all on one person, but you have, like, a new class of mutants who go to the Westchester campus. And I like the idea that we have Krakoa, between Krakoa and Genosha, which would you prefer?
Krakoa.
Krakoa is more interesting.
Yeah, Krakoa is cool. And also, I think because of X-Men 97 not being that long ago, we've seen Genosha at least. So we're like, oh yeah, familiar at least.
Don't you worry? I just worry that they're gonna mess it up. Like, I don't trust them to get it right, because they're just like, they've messed up so many, not messed up, they just do lesser versions of it sometimes in the movies, and I just don't think they would have a Krakoa that lives up to the Krakoa arc of the mutants.
I completely see that.
I'm just worried that it'll just kind of
That's
suck.
why I'm like, I'm going back to the villain thing. It's like them choosing a short-lived villain or like a big actor to play short-lived villain. I'm like, I don't know what Marvel's gonna do.
And they're gonna take forever to do it, and they're never gonna announce it.
And then they're gonna keep dropping people.
These are my anxieties that they're gonna just like, they're not gonna give the fullest version of it.
And people are gonna continually be like, oh, scheduling, I can't be in it anymore.
Right,
I'm still holding on to the fact, I think that's why Ayo and Steven Yeun could not do Thunderbolts, is realizing that they had to be like a part of the 10-year plan. And they were like, I don't think I can do that yet. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't want them to get cosmic yet. I don't need a Phoenix Force in here.
No, that's
I don't need the Shi'ar.
movie.
I don't need Corsair. But we'll get to cosmic in a bit. I think there's a lot of Earthbound great mutant stories that they could tell. Just get it right. I think we need to have a good storm. I want to see an Ororo origin story done right.
I think
she
she's
needs
gonna
to be
show,
one of the first movies that they do.
Well, that's the thing. I think she's gonna be in X-Men, or she's gonna be in the Mutant movies, and then eventually we'll do like the Black Widow thing where she gets like her own little movie.
Yeah.
That's the origin. And also, that's the thing is like I don't think they're gonna go with like. Actually, they could her being like the little thief in Egypt. I'm like, I don't know what story they're gonna pull from. I don't know if they're gonna make her like. I don't think they're gonna make her close to Wakanda. That would be too. They'd be like, nah, it's too much. There's too much extra stuff added.
Well, it sounds like we might get a new T'Challa in Doomsday and Secret Wars. And if he is now the T'Challa of the revised 616 universe, they could bring them together, but they don't have to. And I want to see her on her own first, you know?
They could do the Egyptians. So I would love to see her as a little child stealing in Egypt. But they're going to have to make like a couple mutant movies before they make a solo Storm movie.
I think focusing on the young class and like the young class and their relationship with their teachers, I think that is like a classic solid plan for X-Men. And then you have the school, you have the Wolverine, you have the Cyclops, you have Beast, you have like the lineup of teachers, and then you have the young kids. And I think that relationship between that generational gap as they're having like government forces and Sentinels chasing them down, definitely 7 years worth of movies you can get out of that.
Arguably, does Disney even really, and this is a very ignorant question because I'm trying to think other than the Runaways. I'm like, does Disney have a lot of young kids in school superpower? I have to flee. Do they have the Umbrella Academy? Do they have Gen V? Do they have these? I don't think Disney really does have these movies, anyways.
Not really.
And that's why I'm saying I'm being ignorant because I'm like,
yeah.
there's probably like, I know that there's a zombies movie in those shows, but they live in a world of zombies and they go to school with zombies. But yeah, I'm like, Disney's kind of missing this. Like Umbrella Academy immediately hit. They were like, oh, we're gonna make these outfits and people are gonna buy these outfits.
Yeah.
Same with Gen V. Gen V was just like really fun to watch these kids be not kids, the young adults being young adults. So I'm like, yeah, they just need to make this and they will make so much money off of it.
And you need, again, if we're thinking about it in terms of the parks, you need a place. You need a setting that you can build that people want to visit. That's part of the world that lends itself to the escapism. There has to be a place that's cool looking and you want to visit and go inside of. That's what the X Mansion could and should be. And get your production designers on the payroll. Like Kazra Farhani just needs to build all this. And if not him, someone else.
The school,
build these places. Part of what made Black Panther so great was Hannah Beachler, like she built these places and designed them and they look so cool and we want to visit them, and that's what you need. I think they need to put their production designers higher up on
what if
on
they
the
just go to like a
budget.
lot? They have like a pre-built school on a lot.
It's a digital at-home learning.
Oh, I would throw myself through a window. I also we'll know what it is once the new rides or whatever they're building at Disneyland will be. We don't know what it is yet. It's very top secret. They're also adding 2 extra bathrooms. Jessica, why do you know this? Because I'm a weirdo.
It's all helpful to know because whether the urinals are certain height or floor
well,
length.
there's no bathroom. There's only like one bathroom in Avengers Campus. You always, because I remember I always have to run somewhere else. Yeah. So they're making 2 bathrooms and they're doing something else between cars and this. Well, I just don't know what it is yet, and I know it's not big enough to be the X school. Like it isn't. It's gonna be small. They would have to, which I would be so mad about. They're gonna have to put this at like Disney World.
Yeah.
And I'm not flying all the way to Florida to do this, but I might.
No, we will.
But yeah, we'll go as we'll go as the class.
I think that's a pretty good strategy for Kevin Feige to go with. I think that could be part of his 10-year plan. I don't think we don't need like Apocalypse. But I think we need a good Doom as like the main villain of the Marvel universe during all this time. So I honestly think Doom could just be a villain to the X-Men as well.
You think he would just stay after Secret Wars?
Yeah, or not Robert Downey Jr. Get a new Victor Von Doom who gets introduced at the end of Secret Wars, who can just be like an arc villain during this period.
Would this one be attached to the Fantastic Four? Would this be one of their friends?
I think it's like another actor playing Victor Von Doom who was from their universe.
Oh, okay.
Because I think Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom's from another universe.
100.
And I think there's going to be another Victor Von Doom from their timeline who survives whatever that is, who comes up in the future.
This is crazy. This is basically the plot of Marvel Rivals.
Yeah. Just do that.
What if Marvel Rivals was sneaking in the entire... Is that why Emma Frost is coming? Oh. Emma Frost. I can't wait till she shows up.
So after the Mutant Saga, where do you go from there? One answer is go back to Marvel Cosmic. There's a lot of great Marvel Cosmic stories that you could explore. That's where you could do more Thor stories. You could do more.
I think they're going to keep going. The Mutant Saga is a Mutant Saga, but I think they're still going to do mutant-esque things.
Yeah.
Like, it's still going to be like more, they're going to become the poster board for us. And then Thor will be like the second build.
Yeah. I think you shouldn't have anything longer than a 10-year plan, to be honest, because like a good producer will just kind of let the market and let the audience tell them what should come
what's
next,
gonna happen.
rather than say, I want to do this. Like, movies should kind of reflect the needs and the philosophies 100. Of the times.
But I don't think I think Marvel's gonna let the audience decide, because that's kind of what they're doing now. Like, not in a mean way, but it's like. Yeah, they're going to be like, nah, people don't want these stories. They want this story. So we're going to put Wolverine back in here, baby.
Yeah. So that's going to be a big challenge. It can't, like, we can always have Hugh Jackman as the 1005 Wolverine who can come back in Deadpool movies and come back through multiversal bullshit. But we need a new Wolverine.
We do. Please, go back and watch the first one. That man was a boy. Hugh Jackman was so young. Yeah. I watched them on the red carpet. All of them, they were so young, and this man is still in it, still as Wolverine. And God bless him for doing it. But yeah, we need a new Wolverine, and it's gonna be such a horrible day to be a nerd, like to exist on the internet as a nerd. People are gonna be like mad.
Well, if you introduce these guys in Secret Wars, like we go to Krakoa. And we meet all these guys there, and we kind of know who these actors are. Then it's exciting. Then it's like it's not a Deadline article that tells us who they are. It's not a Hall H panel that tells us who they are. It's a scene in a movie where they're kicking ass that tells us who they are.
But I think the fear is
hard to hide the casting. Though.
It's gonna be hard to hide the casting, and everyone always has something to say about the casting. That's what the reveal is. I'm not more worried about it being recasted. It's that like. For some reason, they already have the biggest shoes to fill. Yeah. Like we cannot for some reason let go of Hugh Jackman. And I'll be honest, it's a piece of me too. I keep saying like you guys or someone else, it's me too. Because I loved Hugh Jackman Wolverine. And I genuinely am like, who are they going to put in there? Jamie Dornan? Don't ask why. Eddie Redmayne?
Charlie Cox?
The other guy? The Charlie Cox. I would love Charlie Cox as him. Also, Charlie Cox is tiny, so it would fit. It would fit for Wolverine.
He's not a big boy.
I think he could get jacked. He could become a triangle very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. That guy's triangle. Fit.
It's going to be, and I think that's when the day is going to be like ripple through the entire internet.
My hope is I want like a lot of time in the Mutant Saga. I would love to go back to things like Civil War on the other side of all this. 10 years from now, 2035, let's see a redo of Civil War that is over something else.
Oh, you think like give us another Avengers Civil War in 25 years?
I thought Captain America Civil War, good movie, not what the Marvel Civil War comics was. There was just too many people who were left off of the playing field. I think there could be another Civil War type of event that incorporates the X-Men in the story.
Oh, 100.
Yeah, 100%. Like we could see a real World War Hulks movie at that point. Just get to some of these really good classic crossover events, and you could just build events out of those on the other side of it all.
Are we going to be alive when they start remaking these movies?
No.
We will be dead, right? We'll be dead.
We'll be long gone. But I'm talking about at that point when all of our consciousness has been plugged into the AI neural net.
Hell yeah.
What movies will my AI recreated brain want to consume?
I'm going to be a chef. And I'm going to live off the grid, and I plant and pick all my food, so I don't even know what movies are anymore.
I will just be like an AI singularity that uses a voice that sounds like this, and he will point out 72 Easter eggs in this Marvel series experience that your brain has been processed through, you stupid bitch.
Oh my God. I love that you're just in pain. You're in physical pain and you're waiting to be turned off and no one's letting you be turned off.
My body is rotting somewhere on the wasteland that is Los Angeles after the water wars have been fought and won.
Wait, the water world?
Talking about water wars. Yeah, you know, when the roving bands are just firing their guns at these.
My God.
Anyway,
I like that you dream about this. This is like after the big one, the big earthquake, we're just going to straight up become two nations.
Yeah.
Well, I'll fight San Francisco. I'll take them on.
We'd win.
Oh, easy. Actually, no, because they break into
faces.
cars. They know how to break into things.
I'm not saying everyone is. I'm just saying the people who I saw in San Francisco.
Everyone in San Francisco is breaking into vehicles, and I know that for a fact.
With their what's it called? The netball?
Pickleball?
Is that the one with the net in the middle? Spike ball?
I've never played that. I don't know what
Everyone
that is.
in
They
the
made it
Panhandle is
up.
playing it.
Damn. Except for you.
I don't remember what my 2
I like
years
that
in
you
San
put it in
Francisco
the
were.
back. It's just like in the
It's
back.
been weird.
end.
It feels like a dream. But I miss my improv friends so much.
Oh, baby.
Okay, so let us know in the comments below what you think the next 10 years will be like. Is there anything beyond the Mutant Saga that you're dying to see that you think they have to include? And who do you think the main villains should be? Do you want someone beyond Doctor Doom? Are there, some X-Men villains? Do you think Magneto should be a true villain or should he be an anti-hero?
No.
No.
That man has been tortured, and he has to torture the rest of us.
Yeah, I want to see him be a bad boy.
I want to see him bad boy. Also, when you mentioned World War Hulk, I was like, oh, yeah, they could do a World War Hulk movie.
They could.
That would be one of the other movies on the side.
We need to get there.
I'd love it.
All right, this coming week on the New Rockstars channel, The Last of Us Episode 5, that breakdown is coming to the New Rockstars channel tomorrow. The final 3 episodes of Andor are coming to Disney Plus on Tuesday night, so the breakdown of that will be coming on Wednesday. We also, this is going to be upfronts week, so we may see some news come out. We're going to try to cover it if there's some really big stuff. We're expecting we might see a Superman trailer, James Gunn's Superman. They're long overdue for an official trailer. We think it's coming this week. We'll break that down. And then we're waiting for an Ironheart trailer. We're waiting for any news about Ironheart, but we will be covering Ironheart whenever it comes and whenever news comes. We'll be covering that. Yep. And then, also the week after that, our show called The Rumor Rundown is coming back. And it's going to start being a regular thing that you see here on the New Rockstars channel. All these rumors that you hear, we're going to compile them into this Rumor Rundown show where we kind of judge them, whether it's a poop or a scoop.
Poop or scoop.
So that's going to be a regular thing that we do. All right, let's end this episode of Sneak Peek with
what we're watching. That is a good question. Because there is something that's been playing on the background on my TV every night before I go to bed, and I'm trying really hard to remember what it was. Oh my God, what is it? Oh my God, stop. I know it. It is something. It is Daria. I'm rewatching Daria. And let me tell you, still holds up.
Really?
Still holds up. Oh, easy. If anything, it's more funnier because, I rewatched Daria. I own the complete series on DVD.
Oh, nice.
And I used to watch them on repeat in college. And in college, I was like, yeah, dude, she's sick as hell. As an adult, I'm like, Daria is so mean to everybody.
Yeah. She's over it.
So mean to everybody. And then I forget, I know this is an old show, that her best friend dates this boy. They don't work out. Daria starts dating her, and then their friendship breaks off.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. And there's only been one person in the entire show that has ever read Daria and was like, hey, your life ain't that bad. You live in like a 2-floor mansion. Your mom's like a really big businesswoman. You guys are fine. Why are you acting like everybody hates everybody? But anyways, great show. It's on Paramount Plus. I've been just rewatching every episode and being like, yeah, I guess this is what the 90s were like.
Wow. Nothing new that I'm watching other than what I'm covering on New Rockstars. But this week's episode of The Rehearsal.
Stop.
Absolutely unhinged. One of my favorite things I've ever seen on TV. I cannot tell you what happens in it. It is just that insane. And I want you to discover it the way I discovered it, which was completely unsuspecting what happens in it.
What episode is this?
Episode 3. And it is, all I will tell you about this season is that Nathan Fielder is trying to fix airline safety issues by having pilots in the cockpit have better communication skills. But the way he goes about trying to do that is absolutely insane. And I highly suggest you watch episode 3. It's so funny.
All these things were shot in advance, right? Like a while ago. So somehow it's timely to what's happening currently.
Right now, yeah. I think he shot this at some point in 2024. I don't know when in 2024 he shot it.
Were
but
we
yeah.
always bad with that?
I mean, we've been having airline safety issues the past several years.
Okay, maybe I've just been
bad.
thinking it's like this entire year.
It just got really bad at the start of 2025.
Okay.
And then I watched that, and then I finished Survivor Season 28, Bloods versus Brains versus Water. No, Blood versus Brains versus...
What the
no,
hell
not Blood.
is
It was
this?
Brawn, Brains... I mix it up. There's Blood versus Water, and there's Brawn, Beauty, Brains. And I just finished Brawn,
Who
Beauty,
the hell is
Brains.
Beauty?
So they cast, I believe, groups of 6 or groups of 8, and Beauty is just a bunch of hot people. And they're the worst at it.
Bronze just ugly?
Well, I think to be beautiful, these guys are in good shape. On Brains, they are terrible, but 2 of them make it pretty far. Actually, 3 of them make it very far.
Is Brains supposed to be smart people?
It's supposed to be smart,
bad?
but they get crushed in the first half. They get whittled down to 3. They're the only tribe to lose that much.
To be fair, I'm not trying to be this person. I don't think it takes a lot of brains to do those games. It's more so like stamina and how fast you get exhausted.
Well, what we find is that a lot of the brawn people are just as smart as the brain people are. A lot of the beauty people are just as smart as the brain people are.
And it was a social experiment.
And exactly. And with the brain people, their ego gets in the way.
Oh my God.
And their attitudes get in the way.
That is so, honestly.
It's great.
Now I'm in it.
It's a decent season. I just don't like a lot of the people personally, and they give them a lot of camera time. If you know Survivor, this is the first season. Tony shows up.
This one from Traders?
Tony from the Traders starts here, and he's good TV. He's not, at least in this season, a particularly good player. He's paranoid. He lets other people kind of manipulate him.
What team was he on?
He was on Braun. That guy's pretty good.
Strong.
He's a big guy.
Okay.
And he is not that great of a player. He doesn't really win challenges. He just gets lucky with immunity idols, and he kind of just he does outplay. There's just not a lot of talented people this season. And throw this guy in a season with a Parvati, a Sandra, a Boston Rob, even a Russell Hantz.
He'd be out immediately.
He'd get played. If he was in a season with Coach, he'd get played. Have
you watched Traders?
I have not seen this. I started the season with Tony, but we didn't keep up with it because I'm I kind of want to get to know Tony on Survivor before I watch the season.
I think I'm not talking about Traders. I was talking about Survivor. And I was I don't think this is a spoiler. But I think Tony's in more than one season of Survivor.
Oh, yeah, I know this. Yeah. I know Tony's a multiple, because people have talked about Tony before. I'm okay. When you start to see people in these seasons, I'm now in the 20s, I'm about to go into the 30s, you start to know, based off the edits people get, that CBS likes this person, they're going to bring them back. So I just kind of know at this point for a lot of people who come back.
That's interesting.
When Russell first showed up, I'm oh, this is the famous Russell everyone's been talking about.
Wait, this is naked Russell? Who's the naked guy again in the early season, season 6?
Oh, that was Richard.
Richard, not Russell.
Yeah, Richard.
Which one's
Hatch.
Russell?
Russell is the Russell Hantz. He's from Louisiana. He's a short troll person with tattoos who keeps finding immunity idols, and he's mean. He backstabs everybody. Okay. So he became synonymous with just constantly lying, constantly backstabbing. He was the first player to just approach the game that way, rather than trying to be nice.
I like this season that you're watching. I also would love to know how CBS vetted who's the smartest.
Right. Well, they went by their
jobs.
jobs.
The prettiest. Because I think brawn people can still be pretty. I think smart people
can also be pretty. A lot of the brawn people
are
very attractive. A lot of the people on Brains are attractive. Yeah.
So I'm and then to be fair, I guess if you're a beauty, I'm expecting they got models. But I'm also a lot of models are physically very fit.
Yes.
So I'm
and
couldn't they have also been on brawn?
Well, there is quite a bit of overlap. Okay. With beauty, they really do go for people who are their job is to be a model. Okay, their job is to be a they're a prom queen or a beauty queen or something like that. With brawn, a lot of their job, there's one guy who's a karate instructor. Oh, okay. There's someone who's there's people who are cops. There's people who just their jobs, they're yoga instructors. Their careers are about their strength. And in brain, they're I'm a nuclear engineer. I'm a
that's
that kind of
What are you gonna? Not to be this person, you're not gonna help me.
Right, I know. It doesn't necessarily help.
Also, they should have got the guy that kept winning Jeopardy.
Oh, Ken Jennings.
Ken Jennings. He would have been worse. He would have been voted out immediately.
Yeah.
And I love you, Ken, but you would have been voted out immediately.
The show is now at an age where it's kind of aware of what it's trying to do, but I think what I hate most about this era of Survivor, and it's when I used to work for CBS, there was some executive at CBS who's Twitter. It's all about Twitter. Make sure to get your tweets and tweet along to this show. Use your hashtags.
They did.
And it just feels so tacky now to watch it. Twitter never had the user base that would justify that compared to where Meta has gone and where YouTube has gone. But a lot of these shows view Twitter as their second platform, and it was just so stupid.
It was as they did on RuPaul's Drag Race. They had you do the hashtag for it specific. Do you remember that time though?
I do.
I remember that time because I think The Walking Dead was also
I guess
because I was tweeting The Walking Dead when I was in high school and being hashtag Shane's hot.
And I don't mind. I guess I don't mind it when I was going through it, but now looking back on it, seeing it as the lower third Chiron on these shows is stupid.
Yeah, it was, and it was right there.
I think they thought it moved the needle for the viewership, and I don't think it ever really did on any of these shows. People just watch stuff how they watch stuff, and they
Exactly.
don't.
You know who probably contributed to this? American Idol and all those shows where you had to like call in to do votes or text in.
I bet the numbers they got from people like texting in their votes was way more than the number of hashtags.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. That's actually kind of funny to go revisit those shows and see the difference in like
it's a
reality
little,
TV.
It's a little charming. It was just like the finale of season 28 where they were pushing it so hard at us, and I was like, get this shit off my screen.
Is there a season of Survivor where they let the people vote, like the fans?
Well, they do for the finale. I think starting around season 7, maybe. Have a fan vote where it's like American Idol, where it's like, okay, well, this person wins, but who was the fan vote? And then they'll give that person like a car or $100,000 or something like that.
So it's like in RuPaul's Drag Race, they have miscongeniality.
Yeah, it's like that. It's kind of like a golden ticket and Singled Out.
Okay, cool.
Remember Singled Out in the 90s?
No.
No one remembers that.
Do you remember Singled Out in the 90s?
Singled Out.
It sounds like you're singled out.
It was like
right
an
now.
MTV dating show or a VH1 dating show.
I remember
Joel
Room
McHale
Raiders.
Room Raiders is a good one. Yeah.
Ew, that one was. I'm so glad that these shows were fake.
Pimp My Ride and Cribs and
which half was fake. Pimp My Ride was half fake because the people were actually getting hurt. Their feelings, like they were like, I told them my grandma smoked cigarettes, so they threw a bunch of dead cigarette butts in the bed of my truck, and they said, "Whoa, didn't know she smoked this much." They were playing those people. They were making them look like fools for us. Back in the day.
Back in the day when like MTV had some executives who were just like, pitch some crazy reality show.
Punk should never have been a show.
Oh, Punk was
that
wild.
That can't happen today. Like,
Next, remember Next on MTV?
I loved Next.
Next was just
Which
problematic as.
It was Next.
It was always messy.
There was the one where like your parents chose your date, and I think that. Do you remember where they had like the pop-ups that would come up behind and be like, "Ooh, she thinks his penis is small" or something stupid? Oh my god! Thank God half of you guys watching this don't we're so young, or born in 2007 that you never had to witness this. This was horrible for us. This
People
was
just
also
saying naughty stuff.
It was horrible, dude. That's
it was
horrible.
Really,
I remember being like, I love movies, but I really don't want to make Van Wilder. Like I remember being a child being like, I love films, but I have to make this. And then now growing up, I'm like, oh thank God.
I mean, Next. There were episodes of Next where there would just be a guy sitting there with like his double popped collar, his polo tucked into his big old stupid acid wash jeans with a giant belt buckle and flip flops with spiked up hair, and some pretty girl would walk off the bus and he'd be like, next, and then cut to him with some producer fed talking point where he's like, she got some nice titties, but that face is ugly as and then they cut to her face and zoom in on her face.
It's horrible.
It's like, this is what I watched as a teenager.
Horrible. I did watch it. I ate it.
It's why I pursued a career in YouTube where I said I will find the real details in every scene and not just focus on how people look.
And how I look past their beauty.
Meanwhile, I'm looking at Century's abs and being like, damn, my man didn't skip core day.
I'm like, oh, those lines. What? Also, I would watch Next, and then I was very young. This shows my age. I would watch Next, and then I would go watch the Joe Rogan show. What was it? Fear Factor.
Yeah.
I would go watch Fear Factor. And that show had beautiful people on it where Joe Rogan would be like, look at your boobs, and then make them swallow cow nuts. Like,
that was basically the
I'm not
premise
joking.
of the show.
I said the show. That's literally what the show was. And we literally had that show air for like 13 seasons.
Well, we're not going back, Jess.
We're not going back. We're not going back.
We're not going back. That's been this episode of The Sneak Peek. We hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane with us. I just want to get off of this lane as fast as I can. Next. Hey, we have 4 channels in the New Rockstars network now. Did you know that? There's a 4th channel called New Rockstars Highlights, where you may have seen clips from this format, the sneak peek, and future clips from the Rumor Rundown. Other stuff we're going to be doing will be reposted there if you just want to see some highlights to get some bite-sized versions of it. We have some amazing shirt designs. We did it, guys. We have a new Avengers with a Z shirt on nerdriot.shop. a lot of great designs to get that daddy for Father's Day that's coming up in 3 weeks. It's really the best Father's Day gift you can
I like
get.
that you said the Father's Day, but Mother's Day is literally like next week.
Well, Mother's Day is today, so it's too late to get them a gift. If you're watching this and not hanging out with your mom, you're a bad kid. And you need to make it up to them by just doing whatever they do for you. Spend a day doing it for them. If not the bad stuff, not nagging or criticizing your life choices, but just like maybe call them, start with that. Call your mom and say thank you.
Unless you guys don't have a relationship. In that case,
If she's been
expedite the shirt to her.
Call some other mom who maybe isn't your mom and just say thank you on behalf of their kids.
Call RuPaul. That's mother to all of us. Yeah. Call RuPaul, Queen Latifah, me. I could be your mama.
Call Jess.
But if you have like loans, do not call me.
No, that's not what it's for.
That's not what I meant.
Well, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.